Good morning, everyone. Before we go anywhere, let me just say this. You've been feeling something lately, a hum, a buzz, a sense that the energy around your name has shifted. Not because you did anything different, because you became something different. And people, they notice. They always notice when someone stops performing and starts being, thank you for being here. Now, let's get into it. There is a quiet hum in the spaces you don't occupy, rooms you're not in, conversations you're not part of, phones lighting up with messages that don't include your number but somehow still revolve around your name. You can't hear the words, but you feel the frequency. That feeling is not paranoia. It's not ego. It's awareness. Your system is picking up on something real. The energy of being discussed, considered, desired without your presence being required. That's a strange kind of power, isn't it? To be felt in your absence, to have your name travel through spaces you've never entered. Let's talk about what people are actually saying, not the gossip, the truth beneath it. When someone talks about you, really talks about you, they're not just relaying information, they're processing an impact. You left a mark somewhere on someone, on a situation, on the atmosphere of a room you walked through and never returned to. That mark is still there, still warm, still causing people to turn to each other and say, what was that? Or did you feel that? Or there's something about them. That's what the word on the street actually is. Not rumors, echoes. Echoes of an impression you made without even trying. You didn't try. That's the important part. The moments that get people talking are rarely the moments you plan. They're the moments you forget. The time you were just yourself, unguarded, unscripted, unapologetic. The time you laughed without checking who was watching. The time you spoke your mind without filtering it through fear. The time you walked away from something that didn't serve you and your spine was straight and your head was high and people noticed. Those moments are currency. They spend themselves in the memories of everyone who witnessed them. And those witnesses, they talk. Here's what the talking sounds like. Not the exact words, the tone. There's curiosity in it, a kind of wonder, people trying to solve the puzzle of you. What makes you different? Why do you linger in the mind after you've left the room? Why does your absence feel heavier than most people's presence? These are not questions they ask out loud, usually. They ask them in the space between their own thoughts. And the answer, the one they're circling but can't quite land on, is this: you are not performing. In a world of performances, of carefully curated images, of people who are always slightly editing themselves in real time, you are just there, fully, unfiltered. And that rarity is intoxicating. The desire people feel for you is not just about attraction in the usual sense, it's deeper. It's the desire to be around someone who reminds them what real looks like, to borrow some of your groundedness, to stand in your orbit and feel, even for a moment, what it's like to not have to pretend. That's a form of desire that has nothing to do with bodies and everything to do with presence. And you have that presence in spades. You always did. You just stopped hiding it. Let's go back to the word desired. It carries weight. It can make you uncomfortable if you're not used to being seen. If you spent years feeling invisible, feeling like the last one picked, feeling like your presence was tolerated rather than wanted, that history leaves a mark. It makes you distrust the attention when it finally comes. You wonder if it's real. You wonder if it will last. You wonder if you're imagining it. You're not. The desire people feel for you is real because you are real. And in a world starving for authenticity, real people get noticed. Not because they're trying, because they're not. Think about the people who have come and gone, the ones who circled close and then drifted, the ones who stayed on the periphery, always watching, never quite approaching, the ones who asked about you when you weren't there, collecting information like they were studying for a test they were too afraid to take. Their attention was not random, it was drawn. You are a magnet for the kind of person who recognizes something they don't have, something they want, something they're not sure they deserve. That's not your problem to solve. That's their work. Your work is just to keep being what you are. Now, let's address the voice that might be rising in your chest as you hear this. The voice that says this can't be right, or they're not talking about me, or I'm not that special. That voice is not humility. It's the residue of old wounds. Wounds that told you you were forgettable, that your presence didn't matter, that you should make yourself smaller because no one was really looking anyway. That voice is lying. It has been lying for a long time. And the evidence that it's lying is standing right in front of you. The hum, the buzz, the sense that your name is traveling through spaces you don't occupy, that's not imagination. That's the universe showing you the truth. Your wounds have been hiding. The street, as they say, is talking, but the street is not the whole world. It's a slice. A particular slice of people who have been impacted by your presence in ways they don't fully understand. Their talk is not your concern. Your concern is staying grounded in the truth of who you are, regardless of who is discussing you or desiring you. Because the moment you start performing for their attention, you lose the very thing that drew them in the first place. Your authenticity, your groundedness, your refusal to be anyone other than yourself. So let them talk, let them wonder, let them lean in close to each other and whisper about the person who walks through the world like they have nothing to prove. That's not arrogance, that's accuracy. You do have nothing to prove. Not because you're perfect, because you're done with the exhausting business of trying to convince people of your worth. Your worth is not up for debate. It's not a question. It's the ground you walk on. And people notice when someone walks on solid ground. Most of them are still sinking. This is where the energy gets interesting, because the more you ignore the talk, the more the talk grows. The less you chase the desire, the more the desire intensifies. There's a paradox here. The people who most want your attention are often the ones who lose interest the moment you give it. And the people who truly see you are the ones who don't need your attention because they're already giving you theirs without expecting anything back. Learning to tell the difference is a skill, and you're getting better at it. The word on the street is not a call to action. It's not a sign that you should start performing, start strategizing, start trying to capitalize on the attention. That would be a trap. The word on the street is simply a mirror. It's reflecting back to you what you've become. Someone worth discussing, someone worth desiring, someone worth remembering. That reflection is not your identity. It's just evidence. Evidence that the work you've been doing on yourself, the quiet, invisible work of becoming more fully you is visible to others, even when you're not in the room. So let's sit with this for a moment. You are being talked about, you are being desired, not because you're trying to be, because you stopped trying. You stopped contorting yourself to fit the expectations of people who were never going to see you anyway. You stopped shrinking. You stopped apologizing. You stopped pretending that you didn't know your own value. And that stopping, it created a vacuum, a space that used to be filled with your anxiety about being enough. That space is now empty. And nature abhors a vacuum. So people are rushing in with their attention, their curiosity, their desire, trying to fill the space you cleared by finally choosing yourself. The irony is delicious. The more you focus on yourself, the more others focus on you. The less you need their attention, the more they want to give it. The more you become someone who doesn't require external validation, the more external validation flows toward you. That's not a game you're playing. It's a law of energy. The energy of self-possession is magnetic. It pulls toward it everything that resonates with its frequency. And there are more people resonating with that frequency than, they're just quiet about it until they're not. You might be wondering, who specifically is talking, who desires you? The answer is not a list of names. The answer is a category. People who are tired of performances, people who have been burned by fakery, people who are starving for something real and recognize it when they see it. These people are not necessarily going to show up at your door with declarations. Their desire may never translate into action, and that's fine. Their desire is not your responsibility. Your responsibility is to stay in the frequency that created the desire in the first place. The frequency of being fully, unapologetically, radiantly yourself. So what does that look like in practice? It looks like you waking up in the morning and tending to your own life, your own work, your own joy. It looks like you not checking to see who's watching. It looks like you not crafting your image for an invisible audience. It looks like you being so present in your own existence that you forget to wonder what people are saying about you. That's the secret. The less you care about the talk, the more the talk becomes about how you don't care. And that's a talk worth having. The street will always talk. That's what streets do. They're noisy. They're full of opinions. They're full of people projecting their own insecurities onto anyone who reminds them of what they're not. Your job is not to manage the noise. Your job is to build a house so solid that the noise becomes background music, something you hear but are not moved by, something that fades as you walk further into your own life. The desire people feel for you is real, but it's also fleeting. It comes and goes like weather. Your self-possession is not weather, it's climate. It's the thing that remains when the storms pass. So let them talk, let them desire, let them wonder about the person who seems to have something they can't name. Their wondering is not your burden. It's their compass, pointing them towards something they need to find within themselves. You are just the mirror, and mirrors don't chase the people who look into them. They just reflect quietly, faithfully, without needing anything in return. That's your power, not the attention, the groundedness that allows the attention to come and go without moving you. You are highly desired, not because you're trying to be, because you're not. And in a world of trying, not trying is the most attractive thing there is.